You know what? I'm going to tell you something. This June is going to be the biggest either happiness or upset disappointment that's going to happen, because if the Bank of Canada does not drop that interest rate quarter point, you're going to see the market just go into a halt, in my opinion. But because they've been bragging, they've been saying, yeah, we're going to probably do it in June. I think they maybe overshot themselves by saying in January, yeah, we'll probably do it in June. And now June's come here and they're like, what do we do? Like, I mean, there's going to be riots on the street if they don't do it. I don't know. It's a catch-22. I understand they have to be smart about it. The consumer has to understand that, there's a reason why they're doing it, but it's going to hurt. It's going to, the confidence level is going to go down because if they don't do it now. Well, you got to watch this segment. Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with RE/MAX, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show, Hamilton edition, with host Rick Zamprin.
It is a gorgeous day in the city of Hamilton, and glad that you are around for the Golfi Real Estate Show, Hamilton edition on 900 CHML. The number one RE/MAX team in Canada is the Golfi team. If you want to get your home sold for top dollar, maybe you're in the market to buy a house or do some investing in real estate, call the Golfi team today at 905-575-7700, online at robgolfi.com. That's Rob, GOLFI.com. You can check out the Golfi team on Facebook. Give them a like. Follow them on X. They're all over TikTok, Instagram, Threads as well. And if you have a question for the Golfi team or a topic idea you would like us to tackle on a future show, send the Golfi team an email. The email address is questions@robgolfi.com. Rob, I know the first few days of May have been busy. What's been happening in your real estate life?
So I'll just give you a little idea what's going on in the appointment center. Now, this is the appointment center for the RE/MAX offices of all through the Hamilton, Halton, Niagara region for RE/MAX. Okay. Now, at the end of as the end of May nears, the appointment center facilitated 3,000 weekly appointments, which represents 9.4% increase compared to last week's. So things are picking up. But Friday was our busiest day with almost 600 appointments booked. Now, Friday is always a busy day because that's where the out-of-town agents book, because they're coming in for Saturday and Sunday, which is great. Now, despite the weekly increase, we are still seeing a nearly 30% decrease in monthly appointments compared to May of 2023, and the numbers are down. Like we're about close to 3% down in unit numbers so far compared to last year, and it's just you know what? I'm going to tell you something. This June is going to be the biggest either happiness or upset disappointment that's going to happen, because if the Bank of Canada does not drop that interest rate quarter point, you're going to see the market just go into a halt, in my opinion. But because they've been bragging, they've been saying, yeah, we're going to probably do it in June. I honestly don't think they're going to do it, because the market, the economy is still doing pretty good compared, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what, I just think they're going to hold off another month. I think they're going to hold off till July, but
I agree. I've heard from some economists who said, you know what, June is the likely scenario, but don't be surprised if they say, you know what, let's wait till July.
Yeah, just because I'm in the field, I see what's going on. I see, people are buying houses. The economy's moving pretty. It's moving pretty good. I think we almost need another 6 months of people renewing their mortgages, and when the economy is really down and that's when they're probably going to do it. They can't stir that market up too fast, and I think they maybe overshot themselves by saying in January, yeah, we'll probably do it in June. And now June's come here and they're like, what do we do? Like, I mean, there's going to be riots on the street if they don't do it. I don't know. It's a catch-22. I understand they have to be smart about it. The consumer has to understand that, there's a reason why they're doing it, but it's going to hurt. It's going to, the confidence level is going to go down because if they don't do it. Now, people are holding off, waiting to see if anything like that's going to happen. And that's why I think that sales are kind of a little sluggish so far in the month of May so far, and it's just because people are waiting for that announcement on June 5th. So you know what, this is it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen. The news that day is gonna be something where I'm gonna actually try to listen to and try to find. I'll be watching my phone and seeing what they do that day.
Now, that is going to be interesting. We know for a fact that the Golfi team was the first ever real estate team in Hamilton to sell 1,000 homes in a year, and that happened a few years ago. It sounds like some other realtors in and around town aren't as successful. What is going on?
Yeah, so you know what? This business is not easy. And so I did the numbers, and now there was an article coming out. So last year, the Hamilton surrounding area did 6,143. This is just Hamilton. This is just the Hamilton surrounding areas, not including Burlington. But they did 6,143. Now, out of that 6,143 transactions, 41% of those were non-member sales, basically Toronto agents coming in doing deals here. So,
wow.
So now you take 40%. What does that work out to? About 3,500?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
3,500. So we have 3,800 realtors in the Hamilton Burlington area. But let's in 3,800. So it works out to like not even a deal a person per agent. Now Burlington non-member deals is 59%. Because it's a little closer to Toronto. So what are the agents living on? What are they surviving? So I'm telling you, the top 3 to 5% of the realtors on the Hamilton Burlington board are doing the bulk of the business, and other agents are doing these one-offs. So if an agent's only doing one deal a year, that's it. But there's a lot of realtors starving out there, and they're going to be leaving the industry. And it is tough out there. Like even myself, I look at how things are, and I talk to agents, and when they come on board, I go, listen, this is not an easy business. I go, you have to make a decision whether you want to, work someplace and get a guaranteed paycheck, or you work here. And you're going to have to work hard at it. You're going to have to make the phone calls. You're going to have to, networking. You're going to have to do everything to make money. Commission, I'm telling you, commission sales is not for everyone. Now, everybody feels that, I'm going to become real estate because they see all the shows on TV, everybody wearing the nice clothes, the nice cars. It is not like that. It is not like that. It is like that for a few realtors, but not everybody. So, but the thing is, it is a tough business, and you're going to have to work at it. And if you're not willing to work, and people get in and they just and they say, well, Rob, it's not working out for me. And I go, well, how many phone calls did you make last week? Well, I made a couple of calls. Well, 2 calls aren't going to cut it. 2 phone calls are not going to cut it. But this business, I know when I got in, I hustled my butt off. Like I was on the phones. I was knocking on doors. I did everything. And, I basically had no choice. I had 4 kids to feed. And so I mean, yeah, if you want to be successful in real estate, have 4 kids. I go, you got no choice but to succeed, because you're going to have to work hard. But you know what? But I do love the business. And that's another aspect of it. If you don't love that business and you're doing it, it's going to be painful waking up every single day. But working for commission checks basically is not for everyone, and we're going to see a lot of people exit this business. Now, the Hamilton Burlington board, right? The RAB, Realtors Association of Hamilton Burlington. There's about 3,800 members. Now it stays hovered about that. Now every month, I don't know how many people leave the business, but new people come in. It stays there. So let's say 250 people leave the business the month of May. Well, we got 250 people that just joined in the month of May. So it kind of balances out. So that's how many people are signing up to be a realtor. And a lot of times they'll do it they do after the 1 year mark, they decide whether they're going to stay in or get out. And the majority of them get out. They get out. Like I remember when I took my course years ago, there was a girl that was probably about the same age as me, and her mother was like a top real estate broker in St. Catharines. And I mean, she had all the connections. She had everything going for her. But she was a school teacher by trade. Like, she actually got her teacher's license. And she did not like it. She got out of the business like within a year or two, and then she stayed in teaching, and she's still teaching today. So again, you got to be very careful before you're getting into this business, and the commitment. There is a commitment you have to make, and even in the U.S., they're predicting a lot of realtors are leaving the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get to that a little later on in the show. But I want to ask you this. You mentioned there's about 3,800 or so members with the Realtors Association of Hamilton Burlington. Do we have any numbers or even anecdotal evidence as to how many of them are part-time?
We don't know. If you the part-time agents are basically doing maybe 1 to 3 deals a year. That's it. Like, it's. And they have either obviously another job, or they have a spouse that's doing really well and they can afford to not do that many deals. And we see a lot of that. And the funny thing is, if you're not transacting all the time, if you're not transacting and doing deals, you're not going to be as sharp when it comes to negotiating for your client. You're not going to be as sharp in knowing how to do the paperwork. You're not going to be as sharp to do any of that or know what the market's like. And so the person that, that is just doing this as a part-time basis, I'm sorry, but I mean, I wouldn't want to have somebody that's working on my biggest investment that's part-time. You got to be full-time, and nobody in our team is part-time. If they have a job, we say you're either have to quit there or you're going to be fired from here. There's no in between.
Yeah, we got about a minute left. The 1 year stay or leave kind of reaction, is 1 year enough time to get a good sense of whether or not you're able to make it?
It isn't, but after the 1 year, it's cost them a lot of money. This business is not cheap. So they're like thinking, do I want to invest even more money? The cost of doing this business, this is a business. It's not a job. This is a business. But that's when they make the decision, whether do I go in another year and see if I can make some money, or do I just get out now while I'm ahead? And maybe they did 1 or 2 deals and they just, get into a different field that doesn't deal with commission base.
Let's get into the idea of a cooling off period in this province. So we know that BC has introduced a cooling off period for home buyers. They buy a home, they get sober second thoughts, and they say, you know what? I'm within this 10-day period. I want to go in another direction. What do you think of this, and how soon could we see this in Ontario?
I guess they want to implement this. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, because they want to help the consumer, but they're hurting the consumer too. What about this seller that's selling and he thinks he's got a deal and he's ready to go to another to buy another property? Then he's going to have a cooling off period on the buying end. It's a big chain reaction of things. I think if you're buying a house, okay, yeah, they're talking about competition. If you're in competition, you got 10 offers on this one house. The guy that gets the deal wins, but then now he's got 10 days to say, you know what, I changed my mind. I'm not really happy with it. And then, so what do you do with the other 9? Like, those guys are gone. They probably bought something else. I don't know. Like, I just think, I don't know who's bringing up all this stuff in this world. It's changing so much. But as a seller, I don't like it. As a buyer, I get it. So a buyer can go in and put an offer on a house, go in higher than everybody else, tie up the property for 10 days, and then say, I changed my mind. I'm not interested. I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's, and they've been saying, I think the realtors, I read here, right, that they said it's caused a lot of problems out in BC with this. Now theirs is a 3-day cooling off period. Now they want to implement a 10-day cooling off period. I don't know, but you know what? We're going to have something signed by both the buyer and the seller saying they're waiving their cooling off period. It's going to have to be that way. On the offer, guess what? Buyer acknowledges and accepts that there is no cooling off period. They accept this offer, and this is a firm binding deal. That's what's going to happen. I don't know if that is legal or not, but there's always a loophole. And I don't think this cooling off period is good. There is on new condo sales and home sales. They do have a little bit of a cooling off period, but I just think it just messes things up with the way the real estate industry is going, especially for the seller. Now the buyer, yeah, I get it. You know, you can put offers on 10 different properties and tie up everybody, and think in 10 days later say nope, not interested.
That's a good point too. Buyers in this case would have 10 days to understand their commitments, secure financing, arrange inspections, and if they feel like it, you know, cancel without any kind of penalty. But you mentioned, you know, 3 days in BC, 10 days potentially in Ontario. A lot can happen in 10 days.
Oh yeah, like it's a lot does happen, and then you lose the momentum on your property if you're a seller and the guy walks away. Like you just lost that. Now all those people that were interested when it first hit the market, they're looking elsewhere. They're not going to come back. Maybe one might come back, but he's not going to pay the same price that he originally put his offer in. He's going to say, no, you know what? You know, obviously the first guy walked away. You know, my offer is going to be, you know, less than asking price. And meanwhile, the guy that originally won the offer probably was paying $50,000 over asking. So that's what's going to happen when we have these cooling off periods, especially if you're in multiple offers. Now, like usually if there's nobody else you're competing against buying a house, yeah, you have your condition of financing, home inspection, and, you know, put your insurance clause in there so that, you know, insurance is all good. You got your, you know, your 5-day business days of conditions in there. But, you know, I think this is more for people that even that don't go in with any conditions, and they get that cooling off period. Even if you're not in competition, you go in firm. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's not going to be good for a lot of consumers, and they think they're helping the consumer. They're not.
How about this scenario? You have a person who's selling their house, and you have, you know, a couple of buyers who are interested. They, you know, both go in with a commitment to buy. You know, the home seller says, all right, let's go with option A. There's a 10-day cooling period, and option A at the end of the day says, you know what? After 7, 8, 9, 10 days, they're like, you know, we've had sober second thoughts. We're not interested. The second would-be buyer, you know, is interested and said, all right, I'll you know, go with what I'm offering. 10 days go by, and they too say, you know what? Nah, we're not really interested. Now 20 days have gone by, and the seller's thinking, what in the world is going on?
Yeah. Like you got a whole month just wasted, and meanwhile, this guy needs to get his house sold because he's got to firm up on another deal, or he's got to move, or whatever. Yeah, like it's going to cause chaos. It's going to cause chaos. I don't know, and they're actually seriously thinking of putting this in. This is looking like it's going to happen. So. I don't know. You know, the industry's changed a lot since I got in, and it seems to be becoming more complicated. I get that they've made the industry a little better, but they've made it worse in other ways. So it just, and what it is every time they put somebody new into office, when it comes to like the Ontario Real Estate Association or the Canada Real Estate Association, they seem to justify their job. They seem to have to change something. You know what I mean? So, hey, I got this new position. I was hired. They obviously want me to do something. And these people they don't sell real estate. These guys, like they don't know what we go through. They implement these forms, and they have no clue. They just say, yeah, let's just put these forms in, and, you know. And now every time you put a house up for sale, you got to sign a 30-page document explaining what we do in real estate. You think anybody's going to read a 30-page document? So people are signing this. We're giving them the Coles Note version of what it is, but why a 30-page document? It's just insane. But we got to do that when we put a house up for sale. That's what they want us to do. And but one day, these guys, what we have to do is when we put their house up for sale, listen, you implemented this 30-page document. We're going to read every word on this thing. So hang on there. We got 3 hours. So I hope you book 3 hours off for us to do that, because it's like you can do a lot of documents without having 30 pages. You can minimize and just explain everything easily, but things are changing, Rick, and it's what are you going to do? We just got to go along and just do it. And the consumer is the one that's going to end up either feeling the pain or the realtor or whoever. It's just more paperwork for them to read.
Sounds like it. Let's transition to a topic that we kind of referenced in our first segment of the show, and that is many real estate agents are leaving the industry. And the question we're asking is whether or not that is good for home buyers. So in the States, they have the National Association of Realtors. And in mid-April, they had about 1.5 million agents registered with the NAR. But that's down more than 100,000 from April of 2022. We talked in our first segment that it's not easy being a real estate agent with all these agents fleeing. Is that good for home buyers?
I think it is, because the ones that are going to still be standing and working are the ones that have the experience. They've been in the industry. They have the knowledge, and like the thing is, my theory is if you. Like, there's some areas that you can't even be a part-time agent. They say, listen, you're either an agent or you work for somebody else. There's no in between, which is good, because why is the industry allowing people to work other jobs and also have them handle somebody's sale of one of their biggest investment? And if they mess up, what does the consumer do? Well, you know what? I shouldn't have used him. I know he's a friend of a friend. He just got his real estate license, which is understood. But the brokerage should have kind of like a mentor or somebody that they can guide, so to make sure this guy doesn't go off track and make sure he does everything right. And when I started, I had my broker, and I'd ask him questions all the time. I'd call him, say, hey, listen, I'm in the middle of this. What do I do? And the same thing what we do for our team members. They call me and they say, hey, I'm in the middle of a deal. I say, okay, do this, make sure you do this, to make sure that clients are getting the right service and they're getting the right negotiations and the right experience from us. And sometimes some brokerages don't do that. They don't have that. So somebody that only does 1 or 2 deals a year is messing up, and that's what's happening. But the industry, I'd rather pay more fees to be a member of the real estate board and have less agents. And I think it'll make this industry way better, and it'll help the consumer more. But they're not doing that. They rather have more members paying a membership fee and making money. So like I said, I would pay double for my members' fees, or even triple, if they made it full-time people only.
We saw so many people enter the real estate industry during the height of the housing explosion during the pandemic. Have those numbers since come back to quote unquote normal levels?
Yeah, there's like in 2008, when the U.S. had their recession in 2009, I think half of the real estate agents left the industry. Maybe it was even more. Now it's built up again, and right now the realtors are feeling the pain again because the sales aren't there as they used to be, and a lot of them are leaving. And but yeah, like it's and that's happening not only in the U.S., but it's happening right here in Hamilton, Burlington, and all over Canada. People are leaving the industry just because the cost to carry this business is not cheap, and it's very expensive. And you're going to see, but a lot of people look at on TV all these real estate shows, and they want to become realtors. And then once they're in the fire and in the trenches of doing it, they realize how tough it is. They really do.
Another part of real estate that is somewhat in the shadows is commission. And there's been a lot of debate on whether or not commissions should be made public. I think most people realize that when they get a real estate agent, they will be paying a commission. They may not exactly know right off the hop what that number is, but is this valuable information to share? For me, it's kind of public knowledge.
Yeah.
It just depends on, how experienced and how successful the agent is.
Yeah. If they can find out what the commission is, it doesn't matter. Cause it's like everybody knows there's a fee to selling a house, what the fee is. Us as realtors, we see it, what the fees are they're paying if we bring an offer in. Like for the public to know, I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what gain they would get from seeing it, but I mean, it wouldn't bother me. Like it's not something that we're hiding. Most people know what the fees are, like pretty well. The realtors know that. The buyer really doesn't pay the fee. What it is the seller pays the fee, and the realtor says, "Hey, out of that fee, I'm going to pay another agent a fee for bringing us the offer, and thank you very much. There's the fee for bringing us the offer." Now, I know in the U.S. they're trying to change that, and I don't know if that's going to follow here. So in the U.S., they're trying to have the buyer pay the fee. Now, is like we have CMHC here, right? Canada Mortgage and Housing. And are they going to finance that? Because not only do the buyer here has to pay for land transfer tax, they got to pay for the legal fees, and they got to pay for the CMH fees, and also they're going to pay for the commission. They're not going to be able to get financed. Like all that. Are they going to finance that? And that may happen because they're in the U.S. That's all changing right now. You should see the realtors in the U.S. They're up in it's changing the dynamics there, and a lot of realtors are leaving because they don't know how to handle that. That's just totally a new dynamics. And so will that come this way? Chances are it will, but I think it's going to hurt the U.S. in that way because we've been doing it for so long, almost over 100 years, the way we've been doing it this way, and it's worked. There's a reason why they haven't changed it up until now, but because, again, it's new people going into the industry, becoming, not members, but they're getting hired to do their job, but sometimes they're actually hurting the industry. And then once, they're not realtors. They don't get it. They're not in the trenches. I think you shouldn't be part of any organization with real estate unless you actually were a realtor yourself.
About Tarion in the past. This is the consumer protection group for newly built homes. So you've invested some money in a home that is under construction. It's part of the big suburb. Things go awry, and this is the organization that will take your complaint and try to get things all straightened out. The problem is, Rob, and you know this as well as anyone, is that this organization, which is trying to reform itself because so many complaints have been filed and not much has gotten done, it continues to kind of drag its feet. What have you noticed?
Yeah, I hear a lot of stories like that where people have moved into their house and they signed off on it with the builder because, obviously they signed off on it and because they just did a walkthrough and it looks good, it smells good, everything's all good. They move in and either within 6 months or even 5 years, there's problems. There's maybe structural, there's things aren't working right. And so they file a Tarion because there's a warranty, just like any other warranty like you have on your car. Mm-hmm. You pay for the warranty. Yep. And then if something goes wrong, they fix it. You don't have to worry about hiring a guy to pay for it. But it seems like it's a big hassle to go through it. And it's not fair. Like, I mean, this Tarion is supposed to help the consumer, but it's not a lot of the times. Now, the larger developers and builders, they have a service people that actually are full-time in their business, and they drive around and fix whatever they need to fix. And but the smaller builders sometimes don't, and sometimes it could cost them money. Now, right now, if a guy wants to be a builder, when they put an application to build a house, they have to submit a deposit. I'm not sure how much it is. It could be $20,000. They hold on to that until, I don't know how long, till after the house is built. And that's supposed to help the consumer in case there is a problem after they move in. Now, small builders, you can't build 10 houses and put $20,000 in a holding account for Tarion. It's tough for them to do it. Now, the old builders, they didn't have to do that because they're grandfathered in and they can just build 300 homes a year and they don't have to put $20,000 a home. But it is becoming a problem, and I think they should fix it. It's not fair, and somebody spends that kind of money and then they have to go through legal battles just trying to get something fixed by the builder, and then the Terrion is not there as they should be.
There was one case, and I'm just reading through the story, I think it was in the Toronto Sun or the Toronto Star, where it said that just to fill out a form, it's like a 30-day form, or at least it should be a form that would be submitted and filed within 30 days, and it took more than 2 years to do it. And that's insane.
Yeah, by then, your house, can have problems and that get worse if it's not rectified. So you almost have to pay for it yourself to get it done. And then by the time they look at it, say, hey, there's no problem here. There's nothing wrong. The one thing is, if you're buying a brand new house and you're doing the walkthrough, I'm telling you, this is the way you should do it. Open and close every single window to make sure that the windows open nice and up and down or sideways or whatever. Open every cabinet door. Open every door. Close and open, shut every door. Do every single thing. People don't do it. They just walk around. They're looking for nail pops in the ceiling or in the walls. Yeah, we'll fix that. But you know what? Yeah. You got to operate every single hinge thing that is in that house, and making sure that it's working properly, it's level, it's straight, it opens and closes easily. You got to do that. Flush the toilets. You never know. Turn on the water taps. Let them run. Every single one of them. And then you don't know, and there could be a pipe that is leaking somewhere in the house. So, once you walk away and sign off on that, boy, you got yourself it's tough. It's not easy.
I guess you should do the same with, appliances that are in there, the HVAC system, air conditioning, whatever the case is.
Absolutely.
Turn it all on and make sure it's working.
Turn it all on. A lot of times, you know what I mean? What about get the air conditioning going? Even I know it's in the wintertime, but hopefully the warranty's on there. I'm sure it should be with whoever they hired for the air conditioning. And you know what the sad thing is now? When you buy a new house now, the furnace is a rental. The hot water heater is a rental. That's not included anymore. It's kind of, in 20 years from now, a hot water heater and a furnace rental is going to be the norm. But the way I grew up, it was just the hot water heater was a rental, and the furnace was always owned. But the old school people do not want to rent a furnace. They just feel that it should be part of the house. And but the new generation, they accept it.
That might be a perk to a house listing. Furnace is not rented.
Yes, yeah. Actually, that is a good line.
The house in the movie Home Alone is for sale. This is a 9,000 square foot home in Winnetka, Illinois. It's listed, Rob, for a cool $5.25 million US. And that's a pretty big figure considering it was last sold in 2012, so 12 years ago, for $1.585 million. It's gone up exponentially.
Oh, yeah. Well, the market, and also I think they did a lot of changes. They cleaned it up.
Yes.
Did you see the video where they showed where the kitchen and where the staircase is? And they've got a basketball court down. They must have dug a basketball court down way in the basement somewhere. They must have added something in the backyard and dug a basketball court. A 9,000 square foot house. That's a big house. It's massive. And but yeah, it was pretty cool. They were showing the different scenes where parts of the house were on the TV, and then they showed it live with the realtor what he filmed. But it was it is a beautiful looking house. It's obviously in a neighborhood where there's all homes that are gorgeous and expensive. But yeah, there's a lot of houses that sold in the past. Like Scarface house. They thought that house was in Miami. It's actually in California. That house, and it sold. I think for I think it's $12 million. They originally tried to get $35 million for it or something like that. But yeah, and I when I was in San Francisco, and I went to drive by the house where they filmed Basic Instinct, I think with Michael Douglas and I forget the other actress's name. So
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, was it?
I don't know.
No, Sharon Stone.
Sharon Stone. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I drove by that house, and it was pretty cool. Like it's funny how different areas you just want to see the house. I mean, we're all intrigued about the movie and intrigued about where the house is. Like there's all sorts of different houses. Like I would love to see the Amityville Horror house. Like where's that? Like So, but yeah, it's intriguing. I think it's cool to look at different houses that have sold that were in movies.
The big surprise was the basketball court. I did not expect that when I was rolling through some of the photos and some of the updates that they had done, because the house inside looks completely different. Like the kitchen's immaculate. It's got two. What do you call them? I'm lost for double islands. Two double islands.
Two islands.
It's got a hot tub in there. Yeah. Movie theater in there. It's got even the poster of the Home Alone, which is kind of cool. I did not know this either. Back in 2021, the Home Alone house, fans of the movie could rent the house for one night only, but for just $25.
Wow.
That is a steal. Yeah,
no
absolutely.
Kidding. What?
But then again, that was during the pandemic, so that might have been why it was so low. That could have been it.
No kidding.
But here are some other famous homes that have sold for a lot of money. The 1984 horror flick A Nightmare on Elm Street, that home is in Los Angeles, sold in 2022, so quite recently, for $2.98 million. And the home from the 1984 film 16 Candles in Evanston, Illinois, sold for $1.6 million a couple of years ago. Pretty big price tags.
Oh, yeah. They're getting good money. And people, you know what? And I guarantee it, sometimes that price on that house is based on because of the movie. You know what I mean? It's like you want to buy a car that Frank Sinatra owned. Obviously, that car was probably only worth maybe $50,000, but because Frank Sinatra owned it, it's probably worth $75,000. You know what I mean? It's just the memorabilia, whatever, the celebrity that owns it or whatever gives it that increase. But how long will that last for, eh? Like, you want to hang on to it and sell it before nobody cares about different celebrities or movies.
That's right. Here's some other homes that went for a lot of money. The home in Ferris Bueller's Day Off went for just over $1 million, $1.06 million. The home in the movie The Fugitive, which came out in 1993, $2.9 million. How about this one? The home in The Godfather Part 2, $5.5 million. The house featured in the 1993 film Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams sold for $1.39 million. We mentioned the Scarface one. The original Godfather, 1972, that house, it was a mansion, sold for $119 million in Beverly Hills. That's amazing.
Wow. No kidding. And
last on the list, the house from The Conjuring, which is an actual real house, and scary stuff actually really happened there, sold for $1.2 million. I would not spend a penny to buy that house and go live in it with all the wackiness and extraterrestrial and ghosts that are hanging around.
Wow.
There you go. There's your list that you can share with your friends here on the Golfi Real Estate Show. Don't forget, if you want to sell your house or in the market to buy a home, call the .1 RE/MAX team in Canada, the Golfi team, 905-575-7700. Online at robgolfi.com. That's RobGolfi.com. Thanks, Rob, and thank you for listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show, Hamilton Edition. We're back next Saturday at 9 on 900 CHML.